Man spitting facts got jailed for raising awareness about grooming gangs.
A lot of the things that you predicted seem to be coming true. I mean,
what? Is this Tommy Robinson? He's currently in prison. This guy's a Nazi? He's a Nazi? I mean, like, I hear that about everybody. I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, but like, I'm not gonna just be like, oh, okay, I guess he's a Nazi.
A lot of the things that you predicted seem to be coming true. I mean,
perhaps
when you were talking about this and the percentage of extreme Muslims in this country, in the UK, was still quite relatively low. People thought, oh, he must be a racist or whatever. Now it's risen quite fast.
But no, there was nothing special about me.
Mm-hmm.
I'd just grown up in Luton. So Luton was a blueprint for the rest of the country.
Yeah.
When Islam becomes dominant, as I said, the peaceful ones become irrelevant. Because they're not going to stop these groomers. They're not going to stop the terrorists. They're not going to report them.
But we still have to bring them on side as much as we can.
Yeah. I agree. But we can't rely on them. They're not going to solve the problem for us. We can't keep funding the Muslim groups. Like, it's insane. Muslims, when the grooming scandal hit, Muslim organisations, not non-Muslim organisations, there's a Sikh organisation called Sikh Awareness Society, who have for 20 years, 30 years, longer than I have, they were on this grooming issue. They were travelling, they have sent, I think, 10 girls, they've relocated 10 girls abroad to save them.
Great.
And they don't just deal with Sikh girls.
Wow.
They're a fabulous organisation. Look them up.
Sikhs.
In fact, the man who runs them, his name's Mohan Singh. I first went to a Luton Sikh temple to listen to him speak about grooming, and he carried an aura that I've never experienced. When I listened to him talk, I thought, wow, like, he's a religious man, and there was something very special about him, and the way he spoke, and the connection he had with everyone. And then I travelled the country, going to Hindu temples and Sikh temples, to listen and learn about how they're tackling the grooming issue, and what they're doing. And I remember the journalist asked me, I brought a journalist, and he said, what do you think of what's happening? I said, it's absolutely brilliant for the Sikhs and for the Hindus. Who's doing this for us? Who's educating the white? Because in these temples, they have all the mums and the sisters and the daughters, and they're all sat down, and then they give them a seminar for 2 hours, and they show them,
that's smart.
This is how they groom you. This is what to expect. This is how they operate. Yeah. So all the warning signs.
This guy doesn't seem like a very good Nazi to me.
The families can see the warning signs. No one's doing that for us. So I remember thinking, this is great, but I felt so disheartened that the working class, the white working class, are still being targeted. There's no one helping us. And then when the grooming scandal come out, who did the government fund? They funded all the Muslim taxis, and they funded all the Muslim groups. They give them all government funding to report and tackle grooming.
I think this is what I was saying before about how I think it's really the government that's fomenting a lot of this this resentment. And like these like racial divides and like these religious divides, because if the government just treated things fairly and they just applied the law universally, none of these issues would happen. But you have people like this guy that get radicalized and other people that get radicalized because there's a very clear double standard that goes on. And they're forcibly they're importing problems, and then they don't deal with the problems, and then they actively prosecute and persecute the people that acknowledge the problems exist. It's insane.
The Sikh groups or the other groups, they've never received any support in this. They do it through their own community donations. Now, Sikh Awareness were viewed pretty much similar as English Fence League. Oh, you're blaming it on the Muslims because of historical problems in India. Yeah. But when the Rotherham scandal broke, and the cat got out of the bag with the world and the media, people realised they were telling the truth. He weren't lying. Yeah. So all the things, as I said, every interview I've ever done will age well. Because I know I've only spoke truth to matter, I've only spoke fact, I've only spoke about what's going to happen and how it's going to happen.
I mean, it sure seems like this is true. I mean, I'm not an expert in this, right? I don't live there. I don't really understand this super well. But like every bit of media that I've seen, everything that I've looked into about this, everything shows this is pretty much what's happening. It's true. Yeah, exactly.
Is going to, because I look at, I mean, is Iran and Lebanon, are they
failed, didn't they? If you look,
I'm right wing, and Tommy Robinson got in prison for starting a riot that led to property getting destroyed. Let's be riot here. I don't know why he got put in jail. I have no idea. I mean, if that's the reason for starting a riot, then he deserves it. But like, I'm just saying, like, I don't think anything that he's saying here is like, I mean, I don't think any of it's bad.
What happened? The Red Green Alliance, the alliance of the Islamists with the far left. When I say the far left, I'm not talking about the average person who's left wing, because I don't.
Yeah.
Left-wing politics, healthy. Right-wing politics, healthy. I think anyone you stop will share some parts of the left, some parts of the right. Which,
Sure.
unfortunately, now you have to hate each other.
Yeah.
That's where we've come in society. You have to hate them, they have to hate you. But far left
This guy doesn't seem like a very good Nazi to me.
politics, the far left have aligned, and when I say the far left, the staunch communists and Marxists who wish to break the entire system to rebuild it. Yeah, they need to break the system. Now, well, who's going to align with them to break the system? The Islamists. Because they all want to break the system. They want to replace it with Sharia law, and they want a communist state. So, as we saw in Lebanon, and history, why don't we learn from history?
Yeah, Iran as well.
Iran. So the left, so anyone listening, the left aligned with the terrorists and the jihadists, and they worked together to bring down the system, to break down the country. It's what you're seeing on these Hamas demonstrations, okay?
This would have never happened if the government had just arrested these people and applied the law fairly. None of this radicalization would have happened at all. This is, I think, the complete fault of the government.
You see, the
100%.
communists and Marxists, they're all joined with the Islamists. They're all friends all of a sudden. And the far right, the Nazis, they all come together. They all hate Jews, so they're all together. They're all like Nick Griffin sitting around a table with Muslim radicals now, all having a laugh at that. Because they hate the Jews. So they're all coming together. And as they come together, as they did in Lebanon, as they did in Iran, they overthrow. And who gets killed first? The left.
Yeah.
They killed them all, you fucking morons. They're going to execute you. You're siding with people who despise you. Jihad is not just for Jews. Jihad for every non-Muslim, including you lot. You communist, Marxist knobs. It's like, I just don't think... have you not looked at history? Have you not learned a single thing? There's 55 countries in the world. 45 countries in the world that Islam has come into as a minority, and then it's dominated, and it's caused war. There's not one single country in our history that has peacefully coexisted. Ever. Why do you think Europe's going to be any different? You morons. Afghanistan, 99% of the Muslims in Afghanistan want Sharia law. What do you think? 100 of them come to the border and they leave it behind. They come into the country, as you'll see in our new documentary, and they bring those intolerant medieval views of women with them.
That's the problem with having the mass migration. And that's the whole thing I've been saying for a long time. This is the same point that I've been making, is that these people, you're bringing them in too fast, and they're not acclimating in a way that makes them congruent with the rest of the culture and the society. And then by doing that, you alienate them. Then you alienate people against them. It's like they're doing this on purpose. Really, it is. It's crazy. Yep, and the churches in Ireland are closing for mosques. Well, I'm not sure about Ireland. I have no idea about that. But yeah, pack mentality. Yeah, I think so. And all he said was facts. Let's be real. Fast or not, they'll never integrate it into society. I think that there's a huge spectrum of it, and there are a lot of people that can integrate into society. And also, I mean, like some of the people the truth is that there are a lot of them that some of them are leaving because they don't like it, right? I mean, like some can't. Yeah, no, for sure. And there's definitely some of them like that. Here's the problem that I have with painting with a very broad brush, especially from migration, is that some of the most patriotic people that I know are Iranian. And I think that a lot of families, one of the reasons why they're not there anymore is because of what happened with that country. And so it would make sense, by the way, wow, the country gets taken over by a bunch of religious extremists, and then some of the people that leave aren't religious extremists. Wow, what a big fucking surprise, right? And so that's really, I think that the issue is that the government is unwilling to define the problem. And you know what this is a great example of, or a great parallel of, is like girl Twitch streamers and like being sexual on stream. So I just want to pull this up and show you guys where we're at here. So everybody says that female streamers are a big problem on Twitch. Everybody hates girl, titty streamers, etc., right? Let's go ahead and let's find where are all the titty streamers. Let's go. Let's do it. Viewers, high to low. Where's the first one? That's the first one. With 3,000 viewers. Think about how tiny, how infinitesimally small this is. This is a fraction of a percent. Move the cam. No, stop it. And anyway, there's 7K now. Yeah, right. And so I think that the problem, though, is that for a long time, Twitch, and also that's one girl, right? And like she's also like I know who that is, and she's popular on other social media platforms as well. And so it's not like that's like the only place that she's at. And so like that's normal. None of these other people at all are doing it. So to act like these Twitch, like these Twitch girls are a big issue, it's nothing, man. Yeah, exactly. And I'm a Sunni Muslim. I never had any issue with any other religion. People need to realize not all Muslims follow the same sects. The issue that I think a lot of people have, and so this is the problem, it's that a lot of white people from Western cultures get radicalized against Islam because there are certain criticisms that you can make of Islam that are not acceptable. And I think governments like the UK government, for example, actively tries to play hide the ball with who's at fault with some of these cases, when the fact is that I think the government, by doing that, I think they make it worse. I think they make it worse for the white people, and they make it worse for the Muslims, because now you're living in a destabilized society. There are no rules. Like the only example, because I've talked to guys that live in like, they've been to places, like there's apparently places in, the Middle East where like Jews and Muslims can live together and it's fine. And they self-govern and it's their own thing. The reason why it works is because there is an iron rule of law. And if you do not have an iron rule of law, you do not have a society. You cannot deal with multiple cultures that are that diverse without having a universal, like fucking uncompromising rule of law. That's it. You do one or the other, and that's all there is to it. Radicalize? Yes, exactly. And so like what? I don't know, like if you rape somebody, they kill you. Like, I don't know. Because if you look at, and also, by the way, a lot of the Muslim countries, what happens, let's go look it up. What happens if you get convicted of rape in Saudi Arabia? There we go. Flogging, death penalty, lashings as well. Approach topics with caution, etc. Witnesses for confession, judicial proceedings will often last transparency. Exactly, yeah. They don't fucking put up with that shit. They don't deal with that bullshit over there. So and that's what's so weird about it. And like, who is that one fucking guy? Do you remember that one clip? I don't know if I can find the clip right now or not. It was that Islamic leader that was like, I'm going to speak this in English, and that way you can understand it, is that there are certain problems with these cultures and like, this type of behavior. And so you have to identify it so you can deal with it properly, and you're not doing it. We understand it better than you do because it's our culture, and this is how you should handle it. That's it. The UAE guy? Yeah, who is that? Qatar minister? UAE foreign minister? UAE foreign minister. Is this it? Here we go. So this is how they deal with it. This guy is 100% fucking based. By the way, Trump was here today.
And let me say this in English so you can understand what I'm saying.
Here we go.
I have translation.
No, I know you have translation, but I just want to make sure you get it right. There will come a day.
Because he knows.
That we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of the lack of decision-making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do. And I'm sorry, but that's pure ignorance.
See, this is the reason why it was such a big fucking deal that Trump said what he said the other day. And I'm sorry I'm skipping around, but I just want to make sure that I line all of this up so I can contextualize it in the best way possible.
This great transformation has not come from
Western interventionists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits.
Sorry about the
like
audio.
those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique visions and charting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done. In the end, the
Imagine hearing this in 2011.
so-called nation builders
Here it
wrecked
is.
far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it themselves. Peace, prosperity, and progress ultimately came not from a radical rejection of your heritage, but rather from embracing your national traditions and embracing that same heritage that you love so dearly.
So just keep that in, and then listen to this again.
The Middle East and they know Islam. Decision making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do. And I'm sorry, but that's pure ignorance.
Thank fucking God we are moving past this bullshit. I am so happy we are past this. That's so right. Yes. Like this has been officiated. Thank fucking God. They're basically Muslim-splaining.
Minister Al-Jubeir, I'm not a European politician. What kind of advice?
Lucky you.
Oh, jeez.
What kind of advice would you give to European politicians to maybe make sure that this ignorance doesn't continue?
I think there has to be balance between rights and between law enforcement. I'll give you an example. We get criticized. We were criticized in France for having supported all these extremists, mosques or Islamic institutions in France for years. And we said, show me one and we'll shut it down the next day. Lots of talk, but no evidence. When the French Senate did an investigation, they discovered that less than 1% of funding for French Islamic institutions came from the Gulf. Most of it came from North Africa and Turkey, because that's where the vast majority of French Muslims came from. But for years the charge was made that it came from Saudi Arabia and maybe other countries in the Gulf, and the fiction became reality.
Pretty sure you showed it the other day.
We have a
No, I
policy
haven't
in
showed
Saudi
this
Arabia
before.
of zero tolerance for extremists. If somebody
You hear that?
And the
Look at this.
fiction became reality. We have a policy in Saudi Arabia of zero tolerance for extremists.
There it is. No, they don't put up with that shit. No. No, fuck no. They don't want to put. Do you think about it? Like, everybody there is driving around. Like, you see these countries, and they're all driving around in fucking Ferraris. If something goes wrong, that's a lot of fucking property damage. They're not gonna let this shit happen. Yeah, supercars. Yeah, they don't want this shit to happen at all. All of them? Not all of them.
If somebody is an imam in a mosque
Yeah.
and is preaching
Insurance nightmare.
hate and
Yeah,
violence,
here you go.
they get dismissed, reprimanded, reprogrammed, and then dismissed if it doesn't work. And we've dismissed
too bad.
thousands of them. And I say to people in Europe, European country,
Dismissed.
if you have, they accuse us of exporting extremist preachers, imams, they call them preachers. We say to them, show me, and if they're not a German citizen or French citizen or British citizen, deport them. That's what we would do.
Duh. Fucking duh. Obviously, that's what you... Yeah, of course. That's it. Yeah, just get rid of them.
If they're your citizen, then stop them from preaching hate. But then they go into, well, no, we don't want to infringe on their freedom of expression. Well, it's either, if they preach, it's hatred, and if you stop them from preaching, it's, we can't do that because of freedom of expression. So then stop complaining. That's what we're up against in a number of countries.
And so there it is. Can you link this? No. And this is the funny thing about it, is that these guys understand it better than I think a lot of other people do. I think the inciting violence is not free speech. Yeah, exactly. He cooked that reporter. Yeah, bro, like that shit went...
Know the others far better than we do. Or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do. And I'm sorry, but that's pure ignorance.
Man.
So, Minister Al-Jubeir, I'm not a European politician. What kind of advice?
Lucky you.
So there it is. And so even these people know how to deal with it. And so, yeah, lots of information is lost in translation, so he's actually pretty smart to speak in English. Well, a lot of these guys are very well educated. I mean, they're not stupid guys. Like, yeah, that's just all bullshit. Them German here, they're destroying thousands of years of culture. Well, what I'm saying is that how is it that their countries don't have these problems and the European countries are having these problems? Well, I'll tell you how. It's because the government over there is full of a bunch of limp dick retards that don't know how to do anything right.